Ready?
No.
Neither am I. I itch.
Tough shit. Hi, welcome to 151 Garage. I'm Sean.
I'm Jill.
And today we're going to talk about Hurricane Ian and how it affected us. Now, we'll not dramatize everything and make it believe that we're, you know...
Went through hell and back.
Yeah, went through hell and back and our lives were in danger, because it wasn't. It was a Category 4 hurricane, but it did hit the West Coast. We do live on the East Coast. We did get a lot of rain and wind, however. One of which, the rain, completely flooded our neighborhood. Not the houses. Our houses sit up above the road, but the road was probably around 2 to 2.5 feet underwater.
Yeah, it was deep.
It is pretty deep, and including the police actually blocked off the roads surrounding our neighborhood so people can't get in it. Obviously, we were able to get out. We had to get out to get some supplies, as well as help some other people with what they needed. That helped because obviously we have 2 vehicles that were able to do that. Now, we did take this one just because we just all packed up in one, and it handled it very well. I mean, 2.5 feet of water for probably about 3 miles, 3 miles of water. Now, it was on the road
for the most part.
When it's that deep and that dark, you can't tell where the road is. You just kind of have to gauge it. So I do know I ran off the road a couple times because I could tell the difference, and I got right back on it.
Yeah, and this is why it's important to like really know your car, like how it feels when it's on the road. That way, when you get into blind positions like we were in, you know if your tire is slipping or not.
Now, let me state this first and foremost. We did not go out with the intention to just go and go sightsee or anything like that. We went out and in just to get what we needed from the stores and get back and make sure everything was okay. I am not the kind of person that's going to put my life or my family's life in jeopardy just to get a shot or a picture. There was no storms going on. It was just standing water. I do not drive through rushing water. What they call like flash floods or washes or stuff like that. I lived in Arizona. I've learned a lesson. I've never done it, but I've seen it happen where even just the smallest amount of water rushing across the road will wash that car off into the ditch or wherever, and then they have to get rescued. I do not go through that. This was just plain standing water.
Which in turn put first responders' lives in danger because, you know.
Yeah. The wind, however, was one of the things that I wanted to talk about.
Before you get there though, it was kind of interesting because all the rain came like just pouring down in the middle of the night. He actually slept through it and woke up to the entire neighborhood being flooded. The wind came after. I mean, it was still for a while, and then the winds just started going. Yeah,
so it was like I stated before, I may have not stated, it was about 70 plus miles per hour wind, and that's pretty hard on a vehicle that has a nice flat side as these. Yeah. These vehicles right here, the wind pushes against it, and even at low speeds, I could feel the wind pushing against it and pushing me over a little bit. At higher speeds, that little bit of winds can push you straight into the next lane if you're not careful. You know, if you're not used to driving in it. Yeah, and there's really, I actually didn't go to work that day because the wind was so bad. It would have pushed me right into the next lane, and I wasn't going to do that. And there's no way to tell where the wind's coming from. You'll see a break in the trees, and then the wind will go right between the break of the trees, or there will not be any wind at all, so you really can't gauge. And then all of a sudden it'll just come up. Yeah. So we were on like where the hurricane was, like you have the circle. We were on like the lower left quadrant when it went through, because it went kind of up and over. Now, there are a lot of other people that are affected by this hurricane, and it was from what news says, it was the largest hurricane, category 4, so it was 2 miles less than a category 5. Yeah. So it technically it's a category 4, but the damages, it was a 5. It was a 5. It really did a lot of damage to not only Florida, it did a lot to South Carolina. my hearts go out to you guys. I really do. It sucks. We know some people
on the West Coast. Yeah.
On the West Coast. I know some people that I work with. That family lives in Fort Myers, which is where it got hit, and that is really devastating what happened to that place. Again, you know, thoughts and prayers go out to the people who've lost either loved ones or
everything.
Yeah, everything. You know, as when something like that goes through, it's a life-changing event, pretty much. I've been through numerous Category 5 hurricanes. I've lived in Florida for close to 30 years of my life. Every one of them is kind of different. It's every one of them, you just kind of have to sit and wait. Now, I've never fled to Georgia or anything like that. I usually kind of sit here and hope for the best, because you could be like the people, I think it was like 2 years ago, they all fled to Georgia, and then it missed us and hit Georgia. So yeah. It's kind of a crapshoot what happens.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't, if you stay or if you leave. So it's really depends on your best judgment. Hurricane Ian was so big as far as the eye, which is the middle of the storm. Usually that's the calm spot of the storm, but on the outside is where the most damaging winds and stuff are. That area was so large that Hurricane Charlie, which Ian did the exact same path, could fit within the eye of the storm. That's how big it was. Clouds went from all the way from Canada to Cuba when it was hitting us.
Yeah. So it was
a monster.
The most expensive hurricane in modern history is what they said. It's caused more damage than any other hurricane in modern history. So
my theory on that was, because I was watching a tracker and I track it very well, is when it went up to Fort Myers and Cape Coral, it kind of like tippy-toed in slowly.
It slowed down. So if you guys don't know, you want a hurricane to kind of go through your city really quick.
Like the faster it goes, yeah.
You don't want it to sit there. Once we see it drop below 10 miles an hour, that means it's going slow through your town, which means it's going to sustain more damage, more time that hurricane's going to be there. I've seen hurricanes go through pretty quick and it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, and then I see a hurricane sit like this one and pretty much devastate the town.
Or if you guys remember a few years ago, Dorian, it stalled in between the east coast of Florida and the Bahamas, I think it was, or is it? Yeah, the Bahama Islands that are like, what, 90 miles away from us, and it just sat there for 3 days at a Cat 5 and is spinning. And these people are enduring 200 miles an hour winds constantly for 3 days. Yeah,
it's bad. But, you know, the one thing I wanted to talk about the winds. So the winds got here about 70 miles an hour. And I already talked about the wind pushing against the vehicle. The one thing that we wanted to do is, these vehicles do not go indoors. They are not, you know, garage queens. Now mine is indoors just because we have the thing taken apart and we don't want anything to happen to it while it's taken apart. Now these two have been sitting out here. We were worried about any kind of damage happening to this, not necessarily body damage or anything like that, because if something hits it, we can get it fixed. We're more worried about what would happen to the roofs, the soft top especially. Now, if you guys can't tell, this right here, you can reach all the way inside. I can reach my hand inside the vehicle from here. Now, the wind, from what other people have said, pushes this up and the rain goes in there. It didn't happen to this one. The wind does come up this road. We did get hit by the side with the vehicle, but it really didn't do any damage, water damage to the inside of the vehicle. We didn't get any water intrusion or anything like that. This one, obviously, it's hardtop, works a lot better, less risk.
Very well sealed.
Yeah, less risk, while this one is a little bit more risky. But again, like I said, we didn't receive any damage from the storm, vehicles or our house or anything. I think all we got is...
We had a lot of tree limbs, and the trees over by the shed got some damaged limbs, but other than that, we didn't lose any shingles, already checked. The fence was fine. Better be because it's brand new. And that got taken out by Irma.
Yeah, that was the last category 5 hurricane that went through and took out
4.
a fence? 4?
She was 4, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, all the vehicles that are in this driveway now was the little baby Badlands there and the 4Runner right behind the camera. They were parked right in front of these guys and they handled it well.
Yeah,
the Beast was over there, halfway underwater.
Now, the one thing is, like I stated, we weren't in the eye or anything like that.
No.
Now, the closer we were, obviously more damage would have happened. But to let you guys know that, you know, especially with the soft top, it sustained that winds and gusts plus whatever it is, you know, 20 miles per hour over the regular wind. It was actually pretty good. I thought I was going to come out with water in my interior, but I didn't, so I was lucky there.
Yeah.
And we were lucky that it didn't kind of go our way. So for everybody out there, keep your thoughts and prayers for the people on the west coast of Florida, as well as South Carolina. They got hit pretty hard. You know, it really does suck. It really does affect you quite a bit going through that type of stuff. So we'll show some video footage of our neighborhood, which really isn't bad considering some of the other things, but you'll see what even not being in the eye on the opposite side of the state looks like. We got hit with a lot of rain and a lot of wind. So please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you know,
we'll catch you on the next one.
Yep, hope you enjoy the video, and thank God you weren't any closer to it. So okay, bye.
Hi, welcome to 151 Garage. Oh, this is gonna be blooper reel. Hi, welcome to 151 Garage. I'm Jill.
I'm Sean, and today we want to talk about Hurricane Ian. Now, we do live in southern Florida. I will not...
East Coast. Sorry.
Hi, welcome to 151 Garage. I'm Sean.
I'm Jill.
And today we're going to talk about Hurricane Ian. Now, we do live in southern Florida, and there's a damn car coming by. Oh, look at that. Outtake. The 5th ugliest car in the world.